Warning: the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey creepy, yeah, that's my style. Creepy crawlers, Kimiko's vibe. We laugh at the dark, find joy in the fears. In a world full of noise, I'm the one you hear. In a smoky room, filled with gloom. Hell is here, podcast doom.
Hello, all you creepy crawlers, and welcome back to another episode of the Blowing Smoke Podcast with Kimiko Kusanagi. Today we're diving into the dreamscape of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, where Freddy Krueger claws his way into our nightmares and our culture. We'll explore the tropes that made this series iconic and the lasting impact that it had on society. So light up and listen in, stay awake, and let's venture into Elm Street. Don't fall asleep. This is going to be a wild ride. For the uninitiated, A Nightmare on Elm Street hit theaters in 1984. It was directed by the legendary Wes Craven. And it introduced Freddy Krueger, a burnt-up child killer. Well, originally he was a child molester and killer, but they kind of decided to change a lot of that and just omit most of the pedo thing. But child killer who stalks teens in their dreams, where death is very real. The franchise spawned 7 sequels, a crossover with Friday the 13th, a 2010 remake, and a TV series, which wasn't too bad. You should give it a chance. Freddy, with his fedora, red and green sweater, and razor glove, became a horror icon. But what makes this series more than just a slasher? It's the dream logic, the psychological terror, and the way it tapped into society's fears. Let's break it down over the next few minutes or so. The nightmare begins, setting up the franchise. Let's start at the beginning. The 80s were a golden age for slashers. Halloween gave us Michael Myers, Friday the 13th gave us Jason, but Nightmare on Elm Street flipped the script. Wes Craven, a master of horror, wanted something new. Instead of a masked killer stalking the woods, he put the terror in your head. The premise is genius. Freddy Krueger, a child murderer, pedo, whatever, killed by vengeful parents, comes back as a dream demon. You fall asleep, and you're in his world. You die in the dream, and you die for real. This setup was groundbreaking. Most slashers relied on physical spaces, camps, houses, forests. Nightmare made the battlefield your mind, which is endless, where the rules are fluid and nowhere is safe. The first film follows Nancy Thompson and her friends, teens on Elm Street, as they're hunted by Freddy. It's intimate, it's surreal, and it's terrifying. Craven drew inspiration from a real-life story of people dying in their sleep, blending an urban legend with psychological horror. Also, if you didn't know this, Freddy Krueger's look came from Wes Craven when he was younger, an incident he had where he looked out the window and he saw a homeless man walking down the street that was all burnt up. Terrified him. One, two, Freddy's coming for you. Freddy himself is a game changer. Unlike silent killers like Jason or Michael Myers, Freddy talks. He's cruel, he's witty, and he loves to taunt his victims. Played by Robert Englund, he got this twisted charisma. Part boogeyman, part twisted game show host. That personality made him a pop culture juggernaut. But the real hook? The dream world. Craven used surreal visuals, melting staircases, bleeding walls, to make every scene unpredictable. This wasn't just horror, it was a mind trip. So, what tropes did Nightmare on Elm Street bring to the table? Let's start with the big one, the dream as a horror space. Before Nightmare, dreams in horror were usually symbolic. Think Rosemary's Baby. Craven made dreams the main stage. This trope let filmmakers break reality's rules, gravity, physics, logic, and it's all out the window. You get iconic scenes like Tina's death in the first film, where she's dragged across the ceiling, or Johnny Depp's bed swallowing him in a geyser of blood. This dream logic became a hallmark. Later films like Dream Warriors or New Nightmare leaned harder into the surrealism, with Freddy manipulating dreamscapes like a twisted artist. It influenced other horror films like Inception or It Follows, where reality bends in unsettling ways. Next up, the final girl, Nancy Thompson, played by Heather Langenkamp, is one of horror's best. She's smart, resourceful, and fights back by studying Freddy, setting traps and pulling him into the real world. The final girl trope, surviving through grit and brains, was already big, but Nightmare added a layer, mental strength. Nancy doesn't just outrun Freddy, she outthinks him. This trope carried through the sequels, with characters like Kristen in Dream Warriors or Alice in Dream Master. Then there's the supernatural slasher trope. Freddy's not just a guy with a knife. He's a ghost, a demon. This set Nightmare apart from grounded slashers and paved the way for other supernatural killers like Chucky or Pennywise. Freddy's kills are also creative, each one tailored to the victim's fears. Think of the puppet scene in Dream Master, or the comic book death in Dream Warriors. It's not just gore, it's personal. And let's not forget Freddy's humor. By Dream Master and Dream Child, he's cracking one-liners like a stand-up comic from hell. Welcome to primetime, bitch. That line alone defined his pop culture swagger. This trope made horror fun, not just scary, and influenced later meta horror like Scream. Societal implications. Now let's get into the meat of it. How did Nightmare on Elm Street really shape society? First, it tapped into deep cultural fears. The 80s were a time of paranoia. So like satanic panic, the fear of crime, distrust of institutions. Freddy wasn't just a monster, he was a predator from the past. A dark secret that adults hid. In the first film, the parents burnt Freddy alive to protect their kids, but their silence let him come back. That's a metaphor for generational trauma, sins of the parents haunting the kids. This hit hard in the 80s. Child abuse scandals were in the news, and Nightmare reflected that fear of predators hiding in plain sight. Freddy's backstory as a child killer / molester made him scarier than a random slasher. It wasn't just about teens dying. It was about society failing to protect them. The dream angle amplified this. Sleep. The one place where you're supposed to be safe becomes a death trap. That resonated with audiences feeling vulnerable in a changing world. The franchise also shaped how we view horror heroes. Nancy and other final girls weren't just survivors, they were fighters. This empowered female characters in horror, showing that they could be more than just victims. But there's a flip side. Freddy's popularity as a villain raised questions. By the later films, fans were cheering for him. Not just teens, This blurring of hero and villain lines influenced how we consume anti-heroes today, from Deadpool to Joker. Nightmare also changed horror's tone. Freddy's humor made scary movies accessible, even fun. It turned horror into a social event. Teens packed theaters, laughing as much as they screamed. The VHS boom made Nightmare a sleepover staple, embedding Freddy into pop culture. His image was everywhere. T-shirts, posters, even a Freddy rap song. He became a symbol of rebellion, like a punk rock boogeyman. So, legacy in modern horror and beyond. What's Nightmare's legacy today? For starters, it's redefined horror's boundaries. The dream trope opened doors for films that played with reality. Think The Matrix, Hereditary. Directors like Ari Aster and Jordan Peele owe a debt to Craven. His blend of psychological and visceral horror. Even TV shows like Stranger Things, with its upside down, echoes Nightmare's alternate realities. The final girl trope is still huge. Modern heroines like Sidney Prescott in Scream or Laurie Strode's return in Halloween reboots carry Nancy's DNA and Freddy's meta-humor. Well, that's all over horror now. Scream, Cabin in the Woods, even Deadpool and Wolverine. They all borrow from Nightmare's self-aware vibe. The 2003 Freddy vs. Jason crossover leaned into this, pitting two horror icons against each other like a monster WWE match. The franchise also influenced gaming. Dead by Daylight lets you play as Freddy, chasing survivors in a dreamlike map. It's proof that his corrupt concept, terror, and inescapable space still works. The 2010 remake tried to darken Freddy by making him scarier and less charismatic. It showed how hard it is to recapture the original's magic, but it kept the franchise alive. Beyond entertainment, Nightmare shaped how we talk about fear. It made us question what's real, what's safe, and how we confront trauma. Freddy's a reminder that some monsters come from within, our minds, our past, our society. That's why he's still relevant 40 years later. Alright, smoke blowers, we've wandered through the dreamscape of Nightmare on Elm Street, its mind-bending tropes, its razor-sharp villain, and its grip on our collective psyche. Freddy Krueger didn't just scare us, he made us question our fears, our heroes, and our society. He's the nightmare we can't wake up from, and honestly, we kind of don't want to. What's your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street moment? A dream kill? A Nancy comeback? Or maybe Freddy's cheesiest one-liner? And if you're curious about Wes Craven's genius, check out his book, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, for behind-the-scenes goodies. Next week, guess what? I have such sights to show you. I said that terribly. Now, as your favorite Cenobite, we have some pain to deal with. So until then, keep your eyes open and your coffee strong. And that's it for this one. Like, share, and subscribe for more. And you stay creepy like Kimiko Kusanagi, okay? Bye!